Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to remind you of a powerful force that lives within each one of us, a force that has the power to transform our failures into lessons, our pain into strength, and our dreams into reality. That force is positive thinking. You see, when life threw me into the deepest darkness, when I was lying on a hospital bed shattered, physically, emotionally, spiritually, everyone around me told me it was over. But it was in that very darkness that I discovered the light within, and that light was my mindset, my ability to say, "This is not the end of my story." Positive thinking is not about ignoring your problems. It's not about living in a fantasy. It's about choosing to see hope where others see despair. It's about believing in possibilities when life gives you nothing but challenges. When we think positively, we take back control. We stop being victims and become warriors. We stop complaining and start creating, and we begin to attract opportunities because we radiate resilience, courage, and confidence. Let me ask you this: have you ever seen a successful person who is constantly negative? Who always talks about what's wrong instead of what's possible? No, because success doesn't come from what you have or where you are. It comes from what you believe. Your mindset is your greatest asset. If you believe you are capable, you will find a way. But if you keep telling yourself, "I'm not good enough," the world will believe it too. I want you to remember, you are not defined by your failures. You are not defined by your scars. You are defined by your bounce back, by your vision, by your belief that something beautiful can still come out of broken pieces. I am not standing here today because life was kind to me. I am standing here because I refuse to surrender to negativity. I chose to rise, I chose to inspire, and I chose to believe, even when everything around me told me not to. Positive thinking is a choice, not a denial of reality. It is one of the most powerful tools we have as human beings, not because it changes what happens to us, but because it changes how we respond to what happens to us. Life is full of uncertainty, pain, loss, and challenges. No one is immune to struggle, but while we may not be able to control the external events of our lives, we can always control the narrative we tell ourselves. That narrative, our mindset, is the difference between someone who grows through adversity and someone who gets crushed by it. Choosing to think positively doesn't mean pretending that everything is fine when it's not. It doesn't mean suppressing your feelings or living in denial. On the contrary, positive thinking starts with acknowledging the truth of your situation. It begins with accepting the pain, the hardship, the failure, but choosing not to be defined by them. It means saying, "Yes, this is hard. Yes, I'm struggling, but I still believe that there's something good ahead. I still believe I can rise from this." Positive thinking is active, not passive. It's a conscious decision made daily, sometimes even hourly, to look beyond the problem and focus on the solution. It requires mental discipline. It demands effort, but it is worth it, because your thoughts shape your life more than your circumstances ever could. You can have all the talent in the world, but if you're constantly feeding your mind with doubt, fear, and negativity, you will never rise to your full potential. On the other hand, a positive mindset can turn even limited resources into great opportunities. This mindset is what allows people to persevere through the darkest times. It's what drives them to keep showing up, to keep trying, to keep believing. When you choose to focus on what you can do instead of what you can't, you begin to reclaim your power. You start to realize that your story isn't over yet, that you still have a say in how the next chapter unfolds. There will always be people who try to bring you down, situations that test your patience, and moments that make you question everything. But your response to these moments is everything. When you think positively, you're not being naive, you're being courageous, because it takes strength to be hopeful in a world that often feels heavy. It takes bravery to see the light when everything feels dark. Positive thinking doesn't eliminate pain, but it helps you carry it differently. It transforms your inner dialogue from "why is this happening to me?" to "what can I learn from this?" It shifts your focus from the problem to the potential within the problem. It's a mindset that says, even if I fall, I can get back up. Even if I'm broken, I can heal. Even if I'm scared, I can still move forward. People who embrace positive thinking are not those who have had easy lives. Often, they are the ones who have suffered deeply, but have made a decision not to let that suffering define them. They have chosen to find meaning in the mess, to search for beauty in brokenness, and to hold on to faith when there was every reason to give up. And that's what makes them resilient, that's what makes them grow, that's what makes them successful, not in the material sense alone, but in the way they carry themselves, in the peace they find within, and in the impact they have on others. You don't have to wait for life to be perfect to be positive. You don't need all the answers to start thinking differently. You just need to believe that your attitude matters, and that your mindset can shape your future. Every day is a new chance to choose how you see the world. Choose hope, choose strength, choose growth, choose positive thinking. Not because it's easy, but because it's powerful. Not because it ignores reality, but because it faces reality with courage, grace, and determination. And that choice, repeated over time, can change your entire life. Your mindset determines your success. It is the foundation upon which everything else in your life is built. You can have skills, knowledge, and talent, but if your mindset isn't aligned with your goals, none of those things will take you very far. The way you think, the beliefs you hold, the thoughts you nurture, and the attitude you carry either fuels your journey or blocks your progress. Success is not a matter of luck or perfect timing. More often, it is the result of relentless belief, unwavering determination, and a mindset that refuses to give up. When you believe in your ability to grow, to adapt, and to overcome, you become unstoppable. People often underestimate the power of belief. If you constantly tell yourself you can't do something, you'll subconsciously find ways to prove yourself right. You'll hesitate, sabotage, or quit before you even begin. But when you believe you can, when your mind is wired for progress, you'll persist even when the odds are against you. That's the kind of mindset that builds success, not because it guarantees ease, but because it guarantees resilience. A growth mindset sees failure not as the end, but as a step forward. It understands that every setback carries within it the seeds of a comeback. It turns obstacles into opportunities and criticism into a tool for improvement. When you embrace this way of thinking, success stops being about perfection and starts being about progress. You realize that your current limitations are not permanent. They're just temporary conditions that you can work through with effort and time. Some people get stuck because they believe their abilities are fixed. They think their intelligence, their talent, or their circumstances determine what's possible for them. But that kind of thinking is a trap. It puts a ceiling on your potential. The truth is, the most successful people are not necessarily the smartest or the most talented. They're the ones who keep learning, who stay curious, and who keep pushing themselves beyond their comfort zones. That kind of persistence is born from the right mindset. Success also requires emotional resilience, and that too comes from how you think. Life will challenge you. You'll face rejection, loss, failure, and uncertainty. These experiences are not unique. They happen to everyone. The difference lies in how you respond. Do you let them break you, or do you use them to build your strength? A successful mindset doesn't crumble under pressure. It adapts, it learns, it moves forward with even greater clarity and commitment. Your mindset influences how you see yourself and the world around you. If you see challenges as threats, you'll avoid them. But if you see challenges as chances to grow, you'll welcome them. If you see other people's success as a threat, you'll stay bitter and stuck. But if you see it as inspiration, you'll be motivated to rise. Perspective shapes action, and action shapes results. One of the most important aspects of a success-oriented mindset is taking responsibility. When you own your choices, your habits, and your attitude, you gain the power to change your circumstances. Blaming others or external situations only robs you of that power, but when you say, "I can control how I respond," you reclaim your strength. That doesn't mean everything is your fault. It means you recognize that you have influence over your future, no matter where you're starting from. Another key element is self-belief. If you don't believe you deserve success, you'll sabotage it every time. If you don't believe you're capable, you won't take the risks necessary to achieve it. But when you truly believe in yourself, even if no one else does, that belief becomes your fuel. It gives you the courage to show up, to speak up, and to stand tall in the face of adversity. Changing your mindset isn't something that happens overnight. It takes time, awareness, and intentional effort. It means questioning your thoughts, challenging your inner critic, and replacing doubt with discipline. But the effort is worth it. Because once your mind is aligned with your purpose, your actions will follow, and success will become not just a dream, but a reality you're working toward every day. Your mind is your most powerful asset. Train it, guard it, nurture it. The path to success starts not with what you have, but with how you think. When your mindset is strong, there is no limit to what you can achieve. Pain can be transformed into power. It may sound like a contradiction, but some of the most profound strength, resilience, and growth in life come from the moments that hurt the most. Pain is universal. Everyone experiences it in different forms: loss, rejection, failure, betrayal, heartbreak. No one escapes it, but what makes the difference is what you choose to do with it. You can let it consume you, or you can let it change you. You can let it make you bitter, or you can let it make you better. Pain has a way of stripping away all illusions. It shows you who you really are and what truly matters. In the quiet moments when everything feels broken, you begin to rebuild, not from the surface, but from the core. That rebuilding is where transformation begins. You start to discover a strength you didn't know you had. You begin to understand that your survival wasn't just about getting through the hard days. It was about who you became in the process. Many people view pain as a punishment or as something to avoid at all costs. But pain, when faced with courage, is a powerful teacher. It teaches empathy, because when you've suffered, you become more sensitive to the pain of others. It teaches humility, because it reminds you that control is an illusion and that life can change in an instant. It teaches clarity, because when everything is stripped away, your priorities become crystal clear. Transforming pain into power is not about denying how much it hurts. It's about acknowledging the pain, feeling it, and still choosing to rise. It's about turning tears into wisdom and scars into symbols of survival. Every scar tells a story, not of weakness, but of strength, not of defeat, but of endurance. These stories become your source of power. They remind you that you've been through the fire and emerged stronger. The path from pain to power requires choice. You must choose to stop asking, "Why did this happen to me?" and start asking, "What can I create from this?" That shift in perspective is everything. It moves you from victimhood to victory, from helplessness to hope. When you take control of your narrative, your pain no longer controls you. It becomes fuel. Sometimes the greatest breakthroughs come after the most painful breakdowns. You hit rock bottom and think there's nothing left. But then you discover the foundation for something new, something deeper, something real. Pain has a way of stripping away pretense and forcing you to confront your truth. And in that truth, you find your authentic self, the part of you that doesn't need approval, that doesn't seek perfection, that simply wants to grow. The most powerful people are not those who have never suffered. They are the ones who have suffered deeply and use that pain to become more compassionate, more purposeful, more driven. They have chosen to make their pain meaningful. They've chosen to let their stories of struggle become lights for others walking similar paths. That is the highest form of power, when your pain not only lifts you, but lifts others too. Healing doesn't mean forgetting or pretending it never happened. Healing means integrating the pain into your journey in a way that gives you strength. It means using what once broke you to build your resilience. It means speaking your truth without shame. It means standing tall and saying, "Yes, I've been through darkness, but I've found my light." Pain can break you down, or it can break you open, open to new insights, open to deeper connections, open to greater purpose. The choice is yours, and it's in that choice that transformation happens. You don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to be fully healed to begin. You just need the willingness to grow, the courage to feel, and the belief that something beautiful can still rise from the ruins. In time, you will look back and realize that your greatest strength was born from the moments that tried to destroy you, that your most powerful words came from your deepest silence, that your ability to inspire came not from your victories, but from your vulnerability. Pain is not the end of your story. It's the beginning of your power. Negativity repels, positivity attracts. It's a truth that plays out in every corner of life, from relationships to careers to everyday interaction. The energy you carry with you, the attitude you project, and the mindset you hold all create a kind of invisible force that either pulls people and opportunities toward you or pushes them away. You may not always see it happening, but it's always at work. Your mindset doesn't just affect you, it affects the world around you. When someone is constantly negative, complaining, criticizing, doubting, they create a heavy atmosphere. People around them begin to feel drained, uncomfortable, or even anxious. No one wants to spend time in a space that feels hopeless or tense. Negativity repels not only people, but possibilities. It closes doors that might have opened. It pushes away encouragement, support, and progress. The more negative your outlook, the more likely you are to attract experiences that confirm your pessimism. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. On the other hand, when someone walks into a room with a smile, with confidence, with optimism, they shift the atmosphere instantly. People feel drawn to them. They feel lighter, more inspired. Positivity doesn't mean being blindly cheerful or pretending that everything is perfect. It means choosing to see the good, to focus on solutions, and to believe in possibilities even in the face of difficulty. That kind of attitude is magnetic. In every interaction, we are either lifting someone up or pulling them down. Positive energy encourages collaboration, creativity, and connection. It builds bridges. It makes others feel safe, seen, and supported. That's why people who carry positivity tend to build strong networks and lasting relationships. They become the kind of person others want to be around, work with, and support. Opportunities often come through people. Whether it's a job offer, a partnership, or a new idea, these openings are often presented by someone who sees value in you. When your attitude is one of encouragement and hope, people see you as someone they can trust and believe in. But if you constantly carry a negative outlook, people hesitate. They may feel unsure of your stability or worry that you'll bring that energy into their lives or workspaces. It's not just about relationships or reputation. Positivity also affects how you handle challenges. When you have a positive mindset, you are more likely to take action, to try again after failure, and to remain calm under pressure. This proactive approach often leads to better results, not because life is easier, but because your mindset is working for you, not against you. Negativity narrows your vision. It convinces you that problems are bigger than they are, that your options are limited, and that change is impossible. It keeps you stuck in fear and self-doubt, but positivity expands your view. It opens your mind to new ideas, creative solutions, and unexplored paths. It allows you to see beyond the immediate obstacle and into the long-term potential. Being positive doesn't mean you'll never feel sad, angry, or frustrated. It means you don't let those emotions define you or dictate your behavior. You acknowledge them, process them, and then choose to return to a mindset that empowers you. It's a daily practice, sometimes even an hourly one, But the more you choose it, the more natural it becomes. Positivity also breeds resilience. When you believe things can get better, you're more likely to keep moving forward. You don't give up easily because you have hope in the future, and that persistence pays off. Life responds to energy. The more you believe in something good, the more you align your actions with that belief. You start showing up differently. You speak differently. You make decisions from a place of faith rather than fear. You won't always be able to control what happens to you, but you can always choose how you respond. And in that response is your power. If you respond with negativity, you block growth. But if you respond with positivity, you create momentum. People remember how you make them feel. They remember the energy you bring into a room. So choose to bring the energy that uplifts, that encourages, that inspires. Be the person who attracts kindness, opportunity, and joy, not just by what you say, but by who you are. In the end, the mindset you carry becomes the life you live. Choose positivity, not just because it makes life brighter, but because it makes life richer, deeper, and far more meaningful. Let your presence be a source of light in a world that sometimes forgets how to shine. You are defined by your bounce back, not your breakdown. Everyone experiences moments of collapse, pain, and loss. There will be times when life brings you to your knees, when everything feels like it's falling apart, and you question your own strength. But it's not those moments that define you. It's what you do after them. Your true character, your real power, is revealed not when things are easy, but when you decide to rise from what was meant to break you. There is a misconception that strong people never fall apart, but the truth is everyone breaks down at some point. Everyone faces moments of deep fear, doubt, and despair. The difference is in the choice that follows the fall. Do you stay down, or do you get up again? Do you let that breakdown become your identity, or do you use it as fuel to create something new? Resilience is not the absence of pain, it's the decision to keep going despite the pain. Breaking down is not a sign of weakness. It's human. It means you've cared, you've tried, you've felt deeply. And sometimes life's weight becomes too heavy, but the breakdown is not the end of your story. It's a pause, a moment that calls for reflection, healing, and ultimately transformation. What defines you is not how hard you fell, but how fiercely you chose to stand back up. Every bounce back starts with a decision, a quiet, courageous decision to try again. Maybe not in the same way, maybe not with the same people, but to keep moving forward. When you rise after falling, you do so with a strength that wasn't there before. You carry the wisdom of the fall, the lessons from the pain, and the fire of your determination. That kind of strength cannot be taught. It is earned through experience, through tears, through courage. Some of the most inspiring stories are not about people who never struggled. They are about people who turned their struggles into stepping stones. They are about individuals who hit rock bottom and still found a way to climb. The climb is what shapes you. It teaches you discipline, humility, patience, and gratitude. And when you reach a higher place, you appreciate it more because you know what it took to get there. You might feel like your breakdown exposed all your flaws, but what if it actually revealed your depth? What if it brought you closer to your true self? Sometimes we have to break open, to release what no longer serves us and to rebuild something stronger, more aligned with who we're meant to be. Your bounce back is your declaration that the story isn't over, that you still have more to give, more to live for, and more to become. Bouncing back doesn't mean everything suddenly becomes easy or perfect. It means you're willing to take one step at a time, even if it's shaky. It means choosing hope over despair, action over paralysis, and purpose over pain. It means believing that your past does not define your future, and that where you are now is not where you'll always be. There will always be people who only remember your lowest point, but what matters is that you remember your strength, that you know within yourself that you rose. Let your bounce back speak louder than your breakdown. Let your comeback be your answer to every moment you thought you couldn't survive. When you bounce back, you inspire others to do the same. Your story becomes a light for someone else's darkness. You show people that it's okay to fall, but it's powerful to rise. That's a legacy worth leaving, not one of perfection, but one of perseverance. So if you're in the middle of a breakdown right now, don't be ashamed, be honest, be gentle with yourself, but also know that this is not your final chapter. There's more waiting for you on the other side of this pain. There's strength you haven't discovered yet, peace you haven't felt yet, joy you haven't lived yet. The world doesn't need perfect people. It needs real ones. It needs people who are brave enough to break and bold enough to rise. You are defined by your bounce back, by your refusal to quit, your resilience to keep going, and your belief that something beautiful can still come from something broken. That is where true power lies. That is who you really are. Belief in yourself is the foundation of all achievement. Before a dream can be realized, before a goal can be reached, before a single step can be taken forward, you must first believe that you are capable. Without self-belief, even the most brilliant ideas remain dormant. Even the most promising opportunities are missed. It all begins with the conviction that you can, that you're worthy, and that you have within you what it takes. Self-belief isn't about arrogance or pretending to know everything. It's about trust. Trusting that you can learn, grow, adapt, and rise, even when things are uncertain. It's about looking at the challenges ahead and saying, I may not have all the answers right now, but I will figure it out. That kind of mindset transforms fear into action and doubt into determination. So many people stop themselves before they even start. They talk themselves out of opportunities. They listen to the voice inside that says, you're not good enough, you'll fail, you don't have what it takes. And because they believe that voice, they never take the risk. They never show the world their potential. But when you believe in yourself, you quiet that inner critic. You choose to move forward in spite of fear, not because fear is gone, but because your belief is stronger. Every success story begins with a person who chose to believe in themselves when no one else did. They didn't wait for permission. They didn't wait for applause. They trusted their vision and acted on it. That's what separates those who achieve from those who only dream. The belief must come first, because it fuels action, and consistent action creates results. Belief in yourself also builds resilience. When things go wrong, and they will, you don't give up, you adjust, you learn, you bounce back, because somewhere inside you still hold on to the belief that you are capable of rising again. That inner strength can carry you through failure, rejection, and even betrayal. It becomes your anchor when everything around you feels uncertain. It's not easy to believe in yourself, especially when others doubt you or when you've been through disappointment. But self-belief is like a muscle. It grows stronger with use. Every time you take a step forward, even when you're afraid, you reinforce your belief. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, push through discomfort, or try again after failing, you prove to yourself that you are reliable, that you can be trusted, that you are worth betting on. Sometimes belief in yourself comes from remembering where you've been. Think of the things you've already overcome, the strength you've shown, the challenges you didn't think you'd survive but did. That's evidence, real, undeniable proof that you're capable of more than you give yourself credit for. Use that as fuel. Let your past victories, no matter how small, remind you that you've got what it takes. The way you speak to yourself matters. If you constantly criticize yourself, compare yourself to others, or focus on your flaws, your self-belief will suffer. But if you choose to be kind to yourself, to acknowledge your efforts, and to celebrate your progress, even when it's small, you strengthen your confidence. You create a mental environment where belief can thrive. Self-belief also inspires others. When you carry yourself with quiet confidence, people notice. They trust you more. They are drawn to your certainty. Your belief becomes contagious. It encourages others to believe in themselves, too. In that way, your courage has a ripple effect. It doesn't just change your life, it influences the lives around you. There will be times when the path is unclear, when the results don't come as fast as you hoped, and when the doubts creep in louder than ever. But those are the moments when your belief matters most. Not when things are easy, but when they're hard. That's when you dig deep and remind yourself why you started. That's when you hold onto your vision with everything you've got. You don't need to have it all figured out. You don't need to be the most talented, the most connected, or the most experienced. You just need to believe that you are worthy of the life you want, and then take action from that place of belief. Because belief is the beginning, and from that foundation anything is possible.